What's up, Cheddarpot Nation? My name is Zach, but some people are gonna call me Cheese, so I'm gonna just introduce myself as Cheese. What's up, guys? I'm Cheese. I'd like to introduce you to the two other hosts of this dear podcast that we call Cheddarpot Podcast. We got Clay and Cole in the building. Say what up, boys.
What's going on?
Howdy.
Yeah. So, what is Cheddarpot Podcast, you're asking? I would hope you know, because I assume you saw this link on Instagram or Twitter and you were able to gather the fact that this is a Minnesota sports podcast. But let's not put ourselves in a box. We're not just a sports podcast. We're just a couple guys talking about stuff. Okay? It might not always be about sports, but it usually should be. If it's not, we're really getting off track with what we're supposed to be doing here. But
goddamn right.
Yeah, exactly. This has been a long time in the making. A fun little backstory. So the way we came up with this was Clay and I would just send long voice notes to each other over iMessage, obviously. And eventually these long messages got really detailed about sports and stuff. So I think one day Clay just decided, this is our podcast. And immediately came up with the name Cheddarpot because I'm Cheese. I'm the cheddar. And Clay is the pot because Clay pot.
Genius.
Maybe not the most creative, but it rolls off the tongue. And then,
and the only other thing too is you think about it, Cheddarpot, we're cooking the Packers. I don't know, it's stupid, but
we're cooking the Packers. Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I guess so. Rule number one on this podcast is fuck the Packers.
Yeah, 100%.
That's that. And then we got Cole, who is the podcast part, because we brought him in and now it's a podcast. His name is Podcast.
My given birth name.
We actually just decided Cole would be a perfect addition to this little tandem we had because he's so funny and so sweet and handsome. So enough about that. How about you two introduce yourselves real quick? Clay, if you want to start us off.
All right. I'm Clay. I am 1/3 of Cheddarpot Nation, baby.
And a little nervous.
I'm the pot. Yeah, I'm a little nervous, I guess. I don't know what I'm doing. But besides that, I'm out here in Minneapolis. Let's start there. Cheese is over in Chicago.
That's a good point,
Forgot to mention that.
I'm not in Minnesota.
Yeah. And
he's actually upstairs right now.
We're on Zoom. But yeah, I've known this kid right here for goddamn how long? Since we were in 3rd grade. So that's kind of where he comes into play here. Is we never ended up drifting ways. We've been best friends since, and then even when I moved out to LA, actually, where I met Cheese specifically when in a little what do you call it, street basketball league in North Hollywood.
Rightfully so, we met playing sports. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And he was wearing a Vikings shirt, and we immediately just went right up to him, like, "Where are you from?" He said, "Burnsville." I'm like, "Oh no, wait, Cheese is from Burnsville."
Mm-hmm. So, actually, I would say not only did we first bond on the Vikings, but we bonded about Kirk Cousins because I remember yelling, "You true. Like that" a bunch that game.
Oh, dude,
I had no idea who this guy was. Yep, I had no idea who you were, but we were yelling, "I like that" to each other.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were and at the time, dude, it was not popular to be liking that. Everybody hated Kirk Cousins at that time.
Yeah.
It was not cool.
I don't know.
He
was not Kirk Chainz at that point and wasn't in a Netflix show or anything. So that's actually great, Clay. A little background lore to our relationship and you and Cole.
Yes.
Cole, you want to...
your turn.
Yeah, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, let me ask a clarifying question for those listeners, those very few listeners out there right now. How do we, until one day we find space for Cheese on the couch, how do we want to go? Cheese, should we be looking at you on our Zoom call here? Should we be looking at the camera? What do we think?
That's a good question.
It matters.
Yeah, so for the listeners, they can probably see there's one version of what's being recorded. We're also on Zoom. I would say look at both. I'm kind of looking at my phone and then looking over at y'all.
We're not staying here. We're going to move around. We're going to change the setup.
How about we watch Cheese as we speak to him, but then every 5 minutes give a really dirty look to the camera?
Whatever you want to do.
I think that's a great idea. Really intimidate the lens.
I love it.
Okay.
My name's Cole. As Clay mentioned, I have been friends with this guy for a long time. similar to both him and Cheese, I love Minnesota sports. A little more of an avid fan of the Minnesota Wild and the Vikings. But I do like the Twins and I do like the Timberwolves. And it's hard not to cheer for the Timberwolves right now.
That's true.
That's right, baby.
But, yeah, definitely more of a hockey fan than anything else when it comes to professional sports or sports in general for that matter. But, yeah, this is fun. It's exciting. Who knows what this will become, but it's cool to just talk about stuff and be goofy and have some laughs. So, I live here in Minnesota as well.
That's right.
And I guess that would make sense. It's
sitting
right
it would make sense, yeah.
I'm from Kyrgyzstan.
There it is.
No, but you did just come from India recently.
Well, he's normally trapped.
Right.
Yeah, you're normally trapped in another
You're
country.
trapped in India. He's
I don't know how you keep getting back here.
For Eastern Indian cricket.
Yeah.
You'll have to tell us how that's going.
It's gonna be a real challenge navigating through all of our inside jokes we already have established and an audience of people who have no idea what the fuck we're talking about. But I think that's the beauty of this.
They'll learn as they
learn.
They listen.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. So Clay and Cole brought up a good point about what do we have related to Minnesota, and y'all heard I'm not there. I'm not in Minnesota. I live in Chicago. I've lived in Chicago for about 10 years or so, but I am born and raised Rosemount, Minnesota, born in Burnsville, just like that one guy, Clay, future Wildie. Yep. And so grew up lifetime sports, Minnesota sports fan, just like it's still all I really care about. Like I went to college for film and I thought I was going to kind of go down this path of being an artist and only watching movies, but here I am at 30 and all I do is watch sports and talk about sports and listen to sports. Years old?
You didn't know that?
I thought he was 28 like us.
No.
You're just learning this.
So how about you show some respect then to your elders, Cole?
Yeah.
To my elder. Yeah, that's right.
Right. I don't know if that's a compliment that you thought I was younger. Do I not give off old, mature, wise man vibes? Is that what you're saying?
Is a 30-year-old compared to a 28-year-old that much more?
Yeah. I don't think it's that much different, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen some things, guys.
Your
mind couldn't even conjure up. But I digress. It's not about my age. This is about my love for Minnesota sports.
Minnesota sports.
Yeah.
Let's just do the whole podcast just talking about his age and how old he is.
Just like my friends in Chicago.
Man.
Yeah. No, I'm used to it. Bring it on.
I like it.
Okay, so with that all said, yeah. So Cole's kind of our wild guy. I would like to declare myself as the Timberwolves guy, and I'd say Clay is our Vikings guy. But here's something to remember: all three of us know enough about all of them. So not one person's an expert. Actually, none of us are an expert. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, we're just here shooting the shit.
That's the name of the podcast. None of us are experts.
None of us are experts.
I don't know shit about fuck.
Colon a Cheddarpot podcast presentation.
I love it.
Love it. Well, with that said, now that these guys kind of know a little bit about what they're getting themselves into and who we are a little bit, should we just kind of jump into it? You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, so we got a little itinerary here. Cole, do you feel like we appropriately covered what we want the pod to be?
I suppose, yeah. I mean, I guess in my mind, and it would be good for each of you to kind of share your feelings about it, but obviously just having fun with this.
Yeah.
Always.
Seeing what it becomes.
No, I do want to say something, actually, because last night I sent that text. I don't care if people watch it. This is fun. I really want this just to be more so the exact same vibe as, when you were making YouTube videos in 2010 and you didn't care if anybody watched it. Obviously, it'd be dope if it did, but you're doing this for fun. That's the whole vibe I'm trying to give off here.
Yeah.
100%.
For sure. And it's an opportunity, at the end of the day, it's an opportunity for us to get together and spend time and talk about stuff. So
exactly.
Quality time with friends.
Yeah.
I
think...
So sweet.
Sorry, go ahead, Cheese.
Well, I was going to say, that was a really good way to put a bow on it. Overall, this is about just the three of us getting to, spend some time together, because I only make it up there once or twice a year, so, this is nice.
This is a damn shame.
I think it's an opportunity
add more money
as well. I know, big ad money. We who's our sponsor today, Cheese?
Hims.
Is it Hims?
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Actually, we probably can't even technically say that.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, okay. What are they going to do? Send a cease and desist.
You and your 3 viewers are screwed. Yeah.
You're profiting off of our name.
No, I figured this would be a good chance for us to talk about sports, obviously, but I feel like we shouldn't be afraid to let conversation, dwindle into other topics, other things that we're thinking about.
So let's talk about what's going on in Gaza right now.
Yeah, brilliant.
Let's break it down.
Yeah,
we are not.
I'm going to make a political statement right here, right now.
Uh-oh.
And share my... No, I'm absolutely not going to do that. No,
Here's how to alienate all of your viewers in the first 5 minutes.
Just split
or gain a lot of viewers in 10 seconds. I guess it depends. But yeah, so I think that's kind of the gist of it. I mean, we'll talk about sports for the majority, but we don't want to be afraid to talk about other things too.
Exactly. Can't put us in a box. All right?
Yeah.
All right, well, with that said, so it's important to note, like, obviously there's the big four sports teams in Minnesota, but that's not going to limit us to only talking about them, right? We have a dynasty that is the Minnesota Lynx. That season's about to start. We also have a really highly competitive. I'm serious. We're gonna talk about WNBA.
No,
I'm
you laugh, you misogynists.
Let me clarify. I am laughing because they are absolutely a dynasty team. They're a fantastic team. But you're right. When people talk about Minnesota sports, they talk about the four majors and the four men's majors specifically. But it's well deserved. I actually have a question later on the podcast about that whole territory.
I love that. I love to hear that.
Yeah.
So with all that said, right, like WNBA, we've got a great soccer team. We can find some niche shit like lacrosse. But for now, we're going to talk about the big four. And I kind of want to start off with a team that is not currently playing, but has some very important things that are about to start. One of which being the NFL draft. So we're gonna start off talking about the Minnesota Vikings. We've done a lot of talking about this in the Cheddarpot group chat. But so where do we even start? Here's the question. Clay and Cole, what are your expectations for the first round, which happens in a week, by the way? What are your expectations?
Mm-hmm. So it totally depends on what we're able to do. You see apparently Patriots are saying now that they're open for business, but what does that really mean? I don't want us to sell the farm. I'm honest to God not okay with giving away a first-round pick for next year, because what if it doesn't pan out with whoever we get? That just... Look at the Panthers. That would suck. So
with Young.
What I'm hoping for, and I watched a video on some actual draft data of guys that's actually worked out, no matter where they're picked.
Isn't it low?
It's a flip of a coin.
Yeah.
Quite literally. I think it was a 52% chance of quarterback in the first round of panning out. So at that point, it's like, dude, if we just wait, if we can't get that first round, or if we can't, the first 3 pick, even the first 4, let's just wait. Let's do 11 and, just kind of stay where we're at.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Do you think that we won't be able to get into the top 5? Is that why you bring that up?
I'm starting to think it's more of a possibility.
That we won't?
Just because of... No, that we will.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm starting to think before I didn't think it was going to happen, honestly.
Sure.
I honestly didn't think that we'd be able to do it for what we want to give for it. If we could do... even a second round pick next year I'm okay with.
Yeah, but
just
not
a
the first.
round. We can't do that.
That's fair.
Because you don't know how we're going to do next year.
But that's a good point.
We could surprise a lot of people. But if we end up with a top 10 pick somehow and we have to give that away, that would suck.
That's fair.
Sure.
That's fair.
I get that, yeah. No, I think that's a good thought about it, a good overview of it. Look, sports are meant to entertain, right?
The Webster's Dictionary.
Sports are there for entertainment. And so, at the end of the day, whatever ends up being decided, if we take 11, we just stick with what we have. I know a lot of the mock drafts have us taking, I forget the guy's name, but a cornerback, one of the first D players. But and that's great, get some solid talent. Flores already has a really stacked D, which is awesome. But I would be lying if I said I don't hope that they take a quarterback, because like I said, it's entertainment. So fair enough if it's a coin flip, if it's a complete miss or a complete win, either way, having a young, high talent or rather just like high profiled quarterback is fun, and it's a lot of enjoyment to watch that. And, you know, considering the year I think we're walking into, you know, we're going to kind of do a bridge year here. I mean, I don't think anyone is really expecting us to dominate or
no,
be Super
everyone
Bowl
thinks we're going to
contenders.
suck.
Yeah. But whatever it is, it's like if we do take a younger quarterback or one, you know, in the top 5 there, I think the goal is to have them just learn for a year, which I think is brilliant. Mm-hmm. I mean, we look at Jordan Love. As much as I can't stand the Packers, they played it very well. They had a guy who was supposed to be really good. They sat him for a little bit. They let him learn, and then when he came in, you know, he didn't really necessarily have the best first couple of games, but he's doing quite well. So I think it'd be fun if we take, you know, high-profile pick, new quarterback. Obviously, we got rid of Cousins, but we'll see.
We didn't get rid of Cousins. He got rid of us, bro.
We did not get rid of Cousins. Yeah,
Kirko said, I got a lot more money in Atlanta.
He got $180 million and took number 18.
Even if he doesn't win any Super Bowls, he will win awards for fleecing the most teams out of the most cash. Okay.
Listen, man.
He's insanely highly paid.
No one's really fleeced the NFL system like that, man. And you know, we're not going to sit here and shit on. We're not going to sit here and shit on Kirk because obviously we're big fans. I think he is worth a lot of money. Maybe not that Atlanta contract, but I don't know if it's always been his fault that like teams don't go far. If you look at like the playoffs last year, like we didn't lose that game because of Kirk against the Giants. We lost that game because our fucking defense was ass.
The second worst defense in the league.
Yeah, right? Like, Daniel Jones was fucking cooking us. Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones, and then he got a bag. Speaking of a bag, dude, one of the biggest contracts ever after that.
Yep.
If he didn't win that game, that wouldn't have happened.
Literally, yeah. And now he's, like, dead with, like, a broken neck and no knees. So that just shows you what happens when you pay quarterback. Which is why I think, like, moving it over to me here, drafting a quarterback is the only option right now because the rookie contract is exactly what will fit the way Kwesi's set everything up. And then you bring in Darnold on like a pretty sexy like $10 million deal, right? To be the bridge guy 1 year. You know, I'm hoping for the best for him. I'm hoping that it doesn't get to a point where we're like, oh shit, like put in the new quarterback. But, you know, like it'll be what it'll be. And I think no matter whether we trade up or not, I think we're going quarterback with that first pick. Unless, you know, like, I guess it kind of all depends who's on the board at that point. Because we could very well use the 23rd pick to, like, grab Bo Nix or I don't know where Penix is going to.
Yeah.
I was going to call him Michael Penis Jr. because that's an inside joke. But this is not an inside joke right now. This is our show, our first episode. But
I do want everybody to know that we used to call Kirk Cock just because the similarities in spelling or whatever, I don't know. That was what we called him. It's just like, and it became second nature to call him that. Like we
cock chain,
Cocko chains, absolutely. And then, just saying, going from a cock to a penis,
it's not the same.
It's poetic. Makes sense.
It could work
if we could go from. Fantastic.
It could work. But here's what I think is going to happen. I want to just like put out my prediction. And it's not even like crazy because there's been a lot of chat about this. But I think we trade those first 2 first rounders, a fourth round that we have, and probably either a first or second round from next year with the Patriots. We get up to 3. We take either Jaden Daniels or Drake May, whoever the Commanders don't draft. Because we know Caleb's going 1.
Yeah.
So
no McCarthy?
Daniels is going second. He has to.
I think the only way we get J.J. McCarthy is if we can't trade up to 3 and we try to trade up to 5 with the Chargers.
Okay.
Because wait, who's 4? Cardinals, right?
Yeah, and they're probably going to stay there and take Marvin Harrison.
Yep, junior for sure.
Yeah, but we could also trade up. It all depends.
Sells tickets too.
Yeah, it all depends because the Cardinals could very easily not take him, trade back, and still get a good wide receiver because this draft is so loaded, and that's why I'm so excited. Crazy. Yeah, I'm like,
I know. I'm just sick of the speculation. I want it to happen already.
That's what I'm saying, man. 7 more days, and we won't have to fucking talk about or think about this ever again. Well, technically 8 because it's 2-day-long draft, but you know.
What time is the draft?
Probably like 7 p.m. It's always prime time.
Okay. Dude, this whole time I thought it was in the morning. And, like, my brother-in-law, you know Jake, but I'm telling for the viewers, my brother-in-law, was trying to get me to come to the actual draft party at U.S. Bank. And I was like, oh, I can't. I got a lunch meeting or whatever. I did not.
Yeah, you're going to be good.
Was that? All right, sweet.
Thursday, April 25th at 11 a.m.
Okay.
Central.
Are you serious?
It is in the morning.
The draft?
11 a.m. to...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
11 a.m.
There ain't no way, bruh. That's probably when coverage starts. Yeah, it's
8 p.m.
always on
Dude,
at prime
I
time.
swear to God.
No, hold on.
It's always on at prime time.
This is
upsetting.
upsetting.
NFL Network's coverage of the 2024 draft is going to kick off Thursday, April 25th, 8 p.m. Eastern.
So 7
Central. My guess is, for those of you, obviously you can't see, when we Google it, the Google channeled answer says Thursday at 11 a.m. That's probably when, like, stuff is getting set up or, like, is beginning.
Because it's going to be
like,
all-day coverage.
Show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... Kind of weird they do that.
This is truly upsetting.
7 Central.
Yeah, so you'll be all right.
Which is good.
Whatever.
Why would
Who
they
cares?
do the draft in the middle of the day when people are working?
Yeah, like on a weekday.
I just, that's
You know, I Googled it, and then all of a sudden...
You Google it? Did you Google it?
Yeah, I Googled
I
it.
Googled all over.
I looked it up on Google.
Genius.
Okay.
Googling it.
But that's exciting.
I do want to say one thing. I think Sam Darnold's going to surprise a lot of people.
I agree. Look at
I
that
think
tape.
he's going to surprise a
If
lot
you look
of
at the tape, that dude is crazy good. He just needs a good team around him.
Look, I was going to say, look at the team around him, dude. He's got one of the best tight ends in the league.
Receiving
He's got
core.
a great receiving core.
dude,
Addison
one of
is
the
a great
best
secondary.
Out of everybody.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And dude, honest to God, he has not had much of a chance to shine, really, in his entire
It's
career.
going to be solid.
Exactly.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, he was basically sentenced to death, you know. It's
sent
one
to
of
the
two
Jets,
places,
bro.
man. It's either the Jets or the Browns, man.
Who doesn't
Quarterback
love a
hell.
good comeback story too?
Yeah.
That'll be solid. But we'll see.
be
I think one of the things we'll talk about on the podcast after the draft is starting to look at the future a little more there because quite honestly, until the draft happens, I know it's just a handful of picks. More significantly, the first round picks and second round picks are going to be more reasonably the actual players that are going to impact the team. But after that all happens, then we'll kind of get an idea of what ownership and management is trying to do with this team. So looking forward to it for sure.
Well, actually what you said about like the team around him, right? I think that's even more reason why we're trying to risk it all and like go get a quarterback, because think about Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers and how they like sat, right, for a year or two, well, a long time, a lot longer because the Packers do it that way. But we have such a great system. We have great facilities, great coaching staff, GM. Like everything about the Vikings is suited for a young quarterback to come in there and get adjusted and learn from NFL coaches and, in due time take over the franchise. So that's why I think it would just be insanely silly for us to not try to get one of the top ones. Because Clay said it is a flip of a coin, but there's a reason those top three quarterbacks are the top three.
Cheese. Your audio is major distorted.
Oh, okay. We had some technical difficulties, which is why all the lighting changed for me. I know, right, guys? Wow. So I'm just going to go back into where I left off before audio started getting fucked up. But basically what I was trying to say is the Vikings, the way we're set up right now, is exactly made for a young quarterback. So I'm hoping that we draft one, and not only do we draft one, I hope we get one of the three that people are saying could be generational, could be, the new guys in the league. So we'll see what happens. I'm a big fan of Drake May. I like that we have Josh McCown as quarterback coach. Just feels right. JJ McCarthy, wouldn't hate it either. So that's all I've got to say about the Vikings. Is there anything else you guys wanted to add before we segue out of here?
We're good here.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay, cool. Skull. So, moving on from that, I think we should jump real quick into the Timberwolves because Saturday is a big, big day. We've got at 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, Game 1 of the playoffs start, and we'll be taking on the Phoenix Suns, a.k.a. the Penis Suns.
Yep.
All of our jokes are just turning a different word into a phallic thing. Penis cock. One of those two. By the way, this show is not for kids, if you haven't figured that out. Our listeners.
We careful, we might say cock.
Careful.
Little Timmy's on the playground. Guys, I just found this new podcast. It's the best.
So I'm our Timberwolves guy, I like to think, but I will say Clay has been watching an insane amount of games this year. Cole has gone to an actual game, so I think
I've been watching the recaps.
Oh man,
Cole's paying attention.
On YouTube after.
Oh yeah.
once they got exciting, that is, which I know kind of fair weather. But to be fair, I've never not been a Timberwolves fan. I just in the past couple of years, I've chose to not invest the time in watching every single game and stuff because
it's not a big deal as long as you don't like go root for like the Lakers or something like that and then come back to the Timberwolves when they get exciting. That's a whole different story.
Yeah.
Well, not to sidetrack us, but honestly, a very quick thought. This is probably this year for the Wild was the least amount of games I ever watched for them, just because it was kind of a low year for us. I know we're not talking about them quite yet. We'll jump back to you, Cheese, with the Timberwolves, but just to go to show that when the team's not performing as well as they should, it's hard to watch.
Especially when they play a lot of games. Like, even when the Vikings suck, it's one game a week.
Right, exactly.
You know? It's so very different. Right. But I feel you. I will say, I watched every game this year except for maybe like one or two that I missed. But like, if I couldn't watch it live, as you guys know, I recorded it and watched it later. No spoilers.
It's so annoying.
Thank God. Shout out YouTube TV and NBA League Pass.
They're third in the West.
No.
They're third in the West team.
Yeah, so it's been such a fucking awesome year, and that is a good segue into this playoffs because obviously we got probably the worst matchup we could have imagined with the Suns, who've had our number all year. But it's been such an awesome season, and I'm just happy we made the playoffs for, third straight year in a row. Shout out Chris Finch, okay? Like, this is a new era of Timberwolves basketball. So, gone are the days of us being, we're still technically a poverty franchise until we do anything in the playoffs. But gone are the days of us sucking so bad that we're constantly made fun of. And now, welcome to the era of Anthony Edwards as Michael Jordan. Like, that's where we're at right now.
Being compared, by Jordan himself. He's like, this guy kind of looks like me.
That's what they do surprisingly look like each other. So a lot of people make the joke that he is MJ's son in more ways than just his skill.
I didn't even mean physically. I meant that I thought the comment was that he, talent-wise, on the court, he's like, I see resemblance of my game in him.
Yeah.
But
it's funny. Well, there's photos.
Kind of funny that people say they look like each other, too.
If you see a Photoshop, people will make him bald and kind of give him the facial hair that Jordan had, and you're like, damn, he do kind of look like MJ.
That's pretty funny.
But anyways, I digress. So we've got a pretty tough matchup coming up, and the sports books, the fans, everyone outside of Timberwolves fans, pretty much say we're cooked. No one's really believed in us all year. Even when we held the number one spot in the West for a insane amount of days, 100+ days. And we
came down to a game.
Yeah, and we literally are the third seed by a game because we had to play a fully loaded Suns team while the Thunder got to play Dallas with nobody, and the Nuggets got to play the Grizzlies, who are only good when they decide to be. So it is what it is. But
when they play us.
Yeah, literally. And the Spurs. The Spurs also, for some reason, just only beat the really good teams. But what I'm trying to say here is, I'm not necessarily as nervous as everybody else is. I think because we've had those 3 games where they beat us in all very unique situations, I think that is going to give us a level up because there isn't anything we've really given away to Phoenix that they can use against us yet, right? Mm-hmm. That's usually why the playoffs are fun because it's hard to beat the same team over and over and over again. So there's no way we don't at least win a couple games if we somehow lose the series. But I think it'll be a lot more competitive than people think. The Wolves have the best defense. We have 2 All-Stars. We have the Defensive Player of the Year. We have the 6th Man of the Year. Our bench is so fucking deep. I'm excited more than I'm nervous, but don't get me wrong, I'm nervous. Okay? But
2 words.
2 words. TSR time.
Not agreed.
That was a little joke for all you
2 words?
for all you Bally sports fans. There's
an acronym in a word. TSR.
Yeah.
That's the commercial. Literally, they teamed up with. Have you not seen that? Nasri does
I haven't seen that. I didn't know what you were talking about.
Nasri does a little thing for TSR time.
I don't pay attention to the commercials. We need to talk about Bally Sports, by the way, at some point. I cannot stand that.
We'll get into that whole shipwreck at one point in time, but.
Fuck the Packers. Fuck Bally Sports.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
2 rules.
Add it to the list.
Cheese, did you have anything else to talk about with the Wolves, or should we get
Yeah,
Clay's take? Or what
so I think that's about all I have. I don't want to get too much into it until stuff happens.
Yeah.
But I want to,
100%.
where are your guys' heads at as, maybe not guys who are as obsessed with the Wolves as I am, but people who have been paying attention.
Yeah, definitely not nearly as obsessed, I would say. I mean, we'll keep you as the Wolves corner.
Yeah, how many weird niche Timberwolves shirts do you have?
Yeah,
That's right.
Not a single one. So, I almost bought a cat jersey for my dog. Almost.
Would have been funny.
I'll do it though. She gets one before I do. But besides that, no. This year specifically, and you can back me up on this, Cheese. So, I watched them a little bit last year, not that much, because even last year while I was living in LA. We had been talking a lot about the Wolves, and you would update me on everything. But I tried to watch a little bit of it, especially towards the end of the season. But over the off season, him and I made a pact. He said he'll pay attention to the Wild if I pay attention to the Wolves.
That's right. You told me about that.
And so then I ended up getting the better end of that deal because it was a lot more fun to watch the Wolves this year than the Wild. And he didn't last very long, and I cannot blame him for that because it was not a fun season for the Wild.
I did have my notifications on, though. I was at least following along when games were happening. But it was hard to watch.
That's actually a good segue into talking about the Wild if we want to do that. So that was a rough season, too.
Cole, unless you have anything you want to say about the Wolves or ask any questions, we can move on to the Wild.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm stoked to move on to the Wild because that would be, if we're talking, I know you mentioned we're not experts.
Stoke your Wild. Stoke your Wild, bro.
Weird, wild, right? I guess, okay, a quick thought about the Timberwolves. I'll say this. I haven't, actively watched them for some time. There was a good stretch there where they were mediocre, if not bad.
Yeah.
But I will say this. Yeah, the Phoenix Suns is a tough matchup. I looked at our past record against them. Since 2019, I think we've won like 2 of 12 games. It's been tough.
It's been rough.
But you showed me an interesting statistic, Cheese, that in the more recent games we played against them, more significantly, our good version of our team that played against them recently, it was turnovers. So I think that's obviously something that can be fixed and adjust. Like if there's anything you can fix about your game, it's turnovers. You just play a little more smart with the ball.
19 turnovers in the first half
against like 4 or something. Yeah, it was pretty rough.
As long as that doesn't happen, it's all we need to not do. That's it.
It's like the first rule of basketball is don't turn the fucking ball over.
That's it. And then
of any sport, don't turn over.
No, true.
But
completely agree.
I'll quickly say this. As someone who hasn't been very active, or rather proactive in watching the Timberwolves, this is the most excited I've ever been for the Timberwolves. And arguably being a very avid Wild fan for a Minnesota sports team in general. The one game I went to this year for the Timberwolves was when Ant got his 51 points.
Oh, yeah.
And
when they were losing,
they got 44 points dumped on them in the first quarter, but they came back. And not just Anthony Edwards, but there was a good stretch there in the third where, is it McDaniels?
No, Nikhil Alexander-Walker.
Yeah, one of our bench guys just went off.
Yeah, he was hitting
and that's
every
a good
three.
Sign.
Yeah.
And that's, we talk about it in hockey, but all sports talk about it, depth. And to have a team that has that kind of depth is an exciting team. So you have an all-star among many other all-stars, and then having depth, I think it's a good look. So this is the most excited I've been. I'm very similar to you, Cheese. I'm more excited than nervous. You know what? We're Minnesota fans. If we lose in the first round, I'm used to it. But I think our chances are solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you put it in a vacuum. We've lost the Suns because we play them every now and then sporadically throughout. But you put us in a series, I think we figure them out. So
I agree.
We'll see what happens.
I agree. And turnovers are something. Yeah, turnovers are something we've been dealing with all year, and they go on these stretches where they really focus on it. And they stop turning it over, and we always win those games. So hopefully that happens, and hopefully we win those first 2 home games, and then we don't have to stress too much. But with that said, let's move on to the NHL, and more specifically the Minnesota Wild. I'm gonna just hand this off to you guys.
Okay, you go.
Want me to start?
Yeah, you start. You prepared, dude. You got a laptop.
Let us. Well, so
It's not.
where are we at? Obviously, we're not making the playoffs.
Oh,
but
dude. Okay, I'll start with this for sure. I am angry. I'm disappointed. My year is ruined. I shit my pants crying so hard. Like it's terrible,
Just now?
dude. It's been no, like over the course of the year.
Just now.
Yeah, he shit his
Yeah.
pants
So
on the first episode.
it's happened. So regardless, man, I'm just it's been a bummer season. It's not like we expected much of them, but even last year, it's of course we ended up having to play the freaking Stars, and we've had some really exciting seasons where it kind of felt like we might actually get to the second round finally, like
close.
at least, and it just doesn't happen.
Game 7 against Vegas. Yeah, we were close on that
it's
one
such
too.
a bummer, but we got Fleury here for another year. We'll probably trade Gus or something like that. Bring up the wall of St. Paul. Let him learn from the kid, or not the kid, the old man, actually.
Old man.
But it'll be. I don't know. We got one more year of this cap hell, and then we can finally figure something out. But besides that,
Yeah.
Yeah, that salary cap has been an
Well,
issue, right?
yep,
It has,
absolutely.
yeah. So that's a very good way of putting it, Clay. Yes, this year has been frustrating. I think for a few reasons. We kind of know. When Billy Guerin bought out the Zach Parise and Ryan Suter contracts, we knew that there was going to be this episode of just frustration and a mediocre team. You're $14 million under the cap, or it might be 15. I'm pretty sure it's 14 mil. On top of that, you have a bunch of young guys that are trying to develop, and so you're playing on a crutch, which makes it challenging. I think what's been really frustrating about this year, and what will probably be frustrating about next year, is, in my mind, in a perfect world, this year and next year would have been the best years to just give up. But you're also asking that of professional athletes who have to earn a paycheck. They're also competitive to the core, so they always want to win. I watched not our last game, because our last game is actually this evening here against Seattle, but playing against oh my gosh, I'm blanking on it right now. Who did we play that we beat?
Who?
Our most recent game, who are going to the playoffs.
The
Oh,
Blackhawks?
Help me out. No. Oh my gosh.
it
Can you pull up your app real quick?
wasn't the Knights, was it? Oh, the
No.
Kings.
Yes,
Yeah,
the
it was
Kings.
LA.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just was blanking on it. But it was on ESPN, and the announcers were like, "Holy crap! This
Yeah.
wild team
Dude.
and they make a good point. They go, "This team they have nothing to play for in terms of playoffs. It's end of the season. You're not making the playoffs, right? So why even get injured? But we outplayed the team, and the guys played with gusto, and it's because they're all trying to earn a paycheck, and they're all competitive. So
No one
my
wants
whole
to
point in
lose.
saying all this is this year and next year are going to be frustrating, because on top of already having a team of players that are talented and are competitive, you have a manager, Billy Guerin, who is very, very verbal about wanting us to be competitive. And the challenge is we're not going to get over the hump. At least I don't see us getting there. But then we're also not bad enough to get that draft capital. And these were the years I was hoping we would get that draft capital. So then, not this next year, but the following year, the last year of Kaprizov's contract, when we're out of cap hell, we're buying good players. I was hoping we would have a few other top prospects, but it'll still be really exciting. So this year sucked because there were times where we were really good, times where we were bad. Now we're ending up just a handful of positions out of the wild card. We have like a 0.5% chance of getting the top pick. So it's a little frustrating.
We're not getting it.
Yeah,
It's probably going to go to Chicago again.
Realistically, it will. But
be honest.
that's the value of being a team that you go all in, you get your dynasty, and then you are doggy for a while. So we'll see. I love the Wild. I love the players we have. Our young guns are really, really impressive, and I'm excited what not this next year we'll watch, but the following year, 2025, 2026 will be really spicy. So that's what I have about the Wild. What do you think, Cheese? In the limited viewership you had this year, what were your thoughts?
Well, from what I know, we've got like a good young core, right? But we just can't really build around them because of the cap hell. But like I like Boldy a lot. I think he's fantastic. He's like 23 or some shit.
was very young.
Very young. And
I forget that all the time.
Yeah, right? And Faber is, like, turning out to be fantastic. Getting Flower for another year is going to be fun. Obviously, like, he's not going to keep going with us as we blossom, but based on what I've seen from, like, some of these younger guys, and Eriksson Ek, I actually don't know how old he is, but he's been dynamite this season. Like, I think
We've had him for a minute.
Yeah, didn't we trade for him last year?
No, we've had him for a handful of years.
Okay. And it was some other Swedish fuckers that we traded for last year.
No, we drafted him. What's exciting is in the last couple of years, he is really, really blown into
insane, bro.
In my opinion, everyone always says, if Jared Spurgeon wasn't the captain, Kaprizov. No, in my opinion, Ek would be the captain
100%.
because he's one of the hardest working players. He's the best 200-foot player, in my opinion, on the Wild. We have a lot of great talent in that realm, but he's 100% just such a catalyst. Also, he draws penalties like no one I've ever seen. The dude knows how to get under people's skin.
I will say,
and not for being a prick.
Yeah,
it's because he plays a tough game that frustrates people, and then they want to get after him. So
that's all the makings of like being a star in this league. It sounds like
for sure.
He's just getting started.
He's
it
dope.
Sounds like.
I think he will be. I don't know, maybe, but he's gonna retire with us. I think, honest to God. I don't know if he'll be. I don't know if he'll be the next number that goes up in the rafters or anything like that. But he definitely.
He seems destined for it. Yeah, he's got all the makings of a career player here,
and he's getting better every year. That's dope.
That he is.
I love that.
Love to hear that. Like that, and so that's where I was gonna make my point. Is I feel like the future is bright for us.
Yeah,
and I'm excited.
It is.
Obviously, Kaprizov
and or potentially bright. We'll see what happens.
Speaking of Kaprizov, wait, do you guys want to know what just happened?
What?
The Wild are on right now, by the way.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. The last game of the year, they're playing Seattle.
Well, I didn't want to be distracted, so I probably still going to have it on. But
Kaprizov did just score. Sorry.
I'm guessing he scored. He is an absolute stud. He is 100% an all-star. You could throw it on if you want. But,
dude's an animal.
No. I think, the perfect way to tie a ribbon around the Wild in general is this next year, don't get your hopes too high. If we completely suck, it's not the worst thing because we could get a good pick. If we play very, very well and play out of our minds, awesome. Then we're sitting there with an opportunity to get playoff experience for our young guys, which is invaluable. I saw a lot of people commenting when we were about to possibly make the playoffs. They were like, "Well, why do we even? We're not going to win a Stanley Cup." Okay, even if we don't win a Stanley Cup, getting young players playoff experience is so precious, and it gives you the opportunity later on when you have the competitive team to have these guys have more poise, more confidence in those positions. But what I was going to say is 2025 to 2026, when we're out of the cap, we have Kaprizov last year under contract. That's going to be the year. Yeah. We need to make a strong push. If we don't, who knows what he's going to feel or where he's going to want to go. I know we'll pay this guy any kind of money he wants, but we'll see. So that's going to be a really good year to watch, and we'll see where things go from there. But
I'm pumped about it.
2025, baby.
2025. Well, actually, before we move on, I wanted to jump on what you just said about playoff experience. Bring that back to the Timberwolves real quick. Because of the last two seasons, us getting into the playoffs in the play-in and then getting an actual series, I think has kind of prepared like Ant and Jaden especially to be ready. Like this is business as usual for them now. So you're right. I think playoff experience has a lot to do with like maturing a player, not just in their skills, but in their mentality. So I'll leave that there. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to say about the Wild?
I don't have anything else about the Wild.
Okay.
I know we're gonna quickly jump on to the Twins and kind of the low spirits we have about them.
Yeah. We don't even have to talk about them much, dude.
Well,
we'll breeze through them because I don't want to waste more of my time.
But one quick thing I thought was really, really fun, and I wanted to bring this up.
Okay.
Because I thought this was, it made me reflect and think how cool it is that we're still seeing things like this happen in the modern age of professional sports. But so Connor McDavid just a couple games ago hit the 100 assists in one season mark, making him the fourth player ever to do that. Funny enough, so Mario Lemieux, 1988 to 89 did it. Bobby Orr in 1970 to 71. And then the other guy that did it 11 times, Mr. Gretzky himself.
11 times.
Which is just, if you ever need, there are players that are going to break some of his records. We're looking at Ovechkin in the next couple of seasons breaking the all-time goal record. But if you ever need assurance that he is still the greatest player to ever play this game,
those records will never
11 times he hit 100 100
That's
assists.
1,100 assists alone. Just on that stat alone.
It's insane. But what's really cool to me, and the reason I wanted to talk about this and bring this up is
number 5, right?
So the more recent time that would have happened, actually, I guess Gretzky would have been the more recent, but in a long time, I think it was like 18 years. So McDavid just did it, and then Kucherov also hit it this year.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And so what's really exciting to me is we're in a season of modern sports where, I think a lot of people, we think there are records that'll never be broken, but we look at older sports and there's always the debate, if they played today with the equipment they have now or in the game how it is now or vice versa, who would be who. But it's so exciting to see 2 players in the league break
so sick.
Monumental records like that. And it's thrilling for me. And on top of it, I know the league has talked about how they want to make it a more scoring centric league. Yeah. There was a couple of seasons where it was the lowest scoring we've seen ever in the history of the NHL. It started to rise more because it is, let's be honest, it's more fun to watch high scoring games, even though it's a little more stressful. People like to see goals, but very, very exciting. We have 2 guys that are on that list, and that they're doing it in current time where it's just intense.
That's
However, Kucherov, he's the first winger to do it. Other guys are centers.
Yeah,
That's pretty sick. That's a little bit more impressive in my book.
well, he'll be one of the greatest to have played the game as well.
Unbelievable.
So, but yeah, I wanted to bring that up.
That's
I thought
sick.
that was really neat.
No, I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, I thought that was a neat stat.
Well,
You got it.
I actually think that's a great. So I want to finish this up because we're talking broader hockey, not just the Wild. Obviously, we've got the Stanley Cup playoffs about to start. Do you guys? Who is your pick to win the cup right now? And this is going to be perfect for clipping and throwing on YouTube Shorts. All right, ready?
All right.
Who wins the Stanley Cup this season? Who you got?
New York Rangers, easy.
Ooh, Cole.
It's finally gonna happen, baby. Come on. I need it. I'm putting them at the top right away.
All right, Cole. What do you think?
I have to.
You're gonna hate me for saying this.
Don't say
I
it.
even hate myself for saying
No,
this.
don't say it,
It's
dude.
you know what? I gotta
Don't do. Wait, they did.
I
Say it.
gotta make my pick as I see it. I think the Dallas Stars are set to.
I
get it.
thought you were gonna say Vegas, bro.
Well, no, I mean Vegas is getting hot right now,
They
but
did just get
the
hurdled.
reason I think the Stars are going to get it is because they have so many players with 20 plus goals. Their depth is insane. They're incredibly explosive offensively.
Yeah.
And that goalie,
that
goalie from Minnesota.
Oh yeah, Otter is
Otter,
incredible.
baby.
And they've slid under not really slid under the radar, but everyone's talking about these it teams. And this is a team that's 3rd place in the league with, I think it was 111, 112, but a lot of points. And they're so stacked talent-wise. I mean, what I was going to say, you brought this up earlier about when the Wild lost to the Stars last year. Honestly, I mean, I know they had a good year last year as well, but when I watched them in the playoffs, and when I've watched the few amount of games I've seen this year, they just have continued to build on this train.
Yeah.
And I think, if you
Ridiculous,
look
honestly.
statistically, the last 2 months of the regular season, the teams that perform the best have statistically been the teams to go on to win the most games. It makes sense, right? Whatever team gets hot, but not just hot, but high statistics in every category, and the Stars are there. And in fact, it seems like they've done that not just in the last 2 months, but over a playoffs and regular season. So I think they're going to get it. I hate that. I do not like them. But I think that they're going to do it. I think that they're really strong this year. That's my prediction.
All right. Give me the Florida Panthers.
Oh,
I love the Cats, man. I want the Cats to win.
Cardiac
I want them to win.
Cats. Cup
dude,
time.
he gets a lot of hate, but I love Matthew Tkachuk, man. That dude is dope.
Give me the Cats,
He's very
baby.
good.
He's less of a punk compared to the other Kachuk.
Yes, he's a little better than his
Still
brother.
a punk, but not as much as the
absolutely.
others.
A little bit ratty, but I like him, man. He's But he was hurt last year in the playoffs, wasn't he?
I don't recall.
He had I can't remember. He had a crazy
He might have been.
He came back.
I know he had a couple games where he was flying. He was doing really well.
Brought him to the Stanley Cup Finals, man. That's so dope. That was
happen.
a fun year, I gotta say.
Yeah.
But yeah,
This will be a good playoff year.
Yeah.
We'll have plenty to talk about. I mean, look, this is exciting to start the podcast as we are because we have a lot of good playoff stuff.
A lot of good stuff's about to happen.
Inject it directly into my balls.
Okay, cool. So enough about the NHL. Sorry, are you intimidated about how good I am at this?
Hey, can we just cut that? All right. Hey, so
yeah, I'm fucking in. I'm locked in, bro.
Like, clap. Go.
Okay, so enough about the NHL. Let's quickly, and I don't want to spend any more time than we have to talk about the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah.
So right now the Twins, I believe, are 6-11. Not good. We just got swept by the Orioles. All of our best players are hurt, except for somehow Byron Buxton. Byron!
Yeah.
And
Right. How was that?
I don't understand what's happening, but basically the Twins are allergic to scoring runs. The bullpen is allergic to not letting runs in. And that's not really how you want to start the season, especially if you look at last season. We started off so hot, and we just kept it going. And we won our division, and we won a playoff series finally. Yeah. So what the fuck are we doing? What's happening? What changed? I'm, like, truly so mad. Because nothing, like, the team is so similar to what they were last year. Like, Sand, Sonny Gray. Like, what really changed?
We didn't even attempt to replace Sonny Gray.
Well, I think that's because Joe Ryan's, like, the guy. They didn't want.
Yeah, true. I mean, but then you have Joe Ryan as well. Great. What's the problem with replacing? I don't get it, man. Yeah. Why do we not want to spend money?
Yeah, like we could have spent the money.
Yeah,
but I don't know. There's more to that. I don't know if Sonny Gray even wanted to be with the Twins because he was so hyped.
But is the pitching even the problem right now? It's not. It's the
it's not. I mean, scoring runs obviously. You know, to win games, you got to score more than the other team. And I just don't think that...
Some high-level analysis.
I think it could very well just be like the hitting coaches just not giving very great game plans to the hitters because we just can't figure anything out. So,
it's weird.
Yeah, I don't really know what else to talk about other than the fact that...
That's all that we...
Here's what we talk about the Twins, what we say. 162 games. We hope that they turn it around. They got time to do so. It's early in this season, and they play 162 games. It's absurd.
We wish you the best, Rocco and the boys. We wish you the best.
I'll leave it on this. Here's kind of a fun story for you guys. Fun Joe Ryan story since you brought him up. Rachel and I were walking in the North Loop, and we walked past this guy who's got headphones in. Yeah. It's like 8 o'clock. She starts freaking out, and she goes, "Oh my gosh!" And I go, "Oh, did you know this guy in high school?" I didn't know who Joe Ryan was. I go, "Oh, are you high school friends?" She goes, "No, hey, stop. Can I take a picture with you?" And he takes a picture, and then she and I are walking away. I go, "Who was that?" She goes, "Joe Ryan, the pitcher for the Twins." I go, "Oh,
the hottest player in Major League Baseball."
Like, "Hey, is he your high school buddy?" Or yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, we're tangentially friends with him.
I gotta run to the bathroom, so you guys wrap it up.
All right.
Are you serious?
He's gonna go to the bathroom really quick, and I'm gonna throw this to our sponsor. Today's episode of the Cheddarpot podcast is brought to you by Hims. Is your pee-pee no work? Hims. Get some Hims. Use our discount code at checkout. Not hashtag, just Cheddarpot pee-pee time at checkout for 15% off. All right, we'll be right back. Thanks. All right, we are back, folks, and we're stop laughing. We are back, baby. We're back. We're gonna finish this up really quick with our first. I'm gonna call it a segment because it is, and it's gonna be your favorite segment of this show. We're going to Cole's Correspondence Corner. Cole, take it away, my friend.
Okay, I have a handful of questions for you, fine gentlemen.
Handful.
We'll see how many we get through. In the appropriate amount of time.
Okay.
First question. I figure I should ask this question since it was hinted at earlier when we talked about WNBA. Here's my question for you guys. Do you think Caitlin Clark, being drafted, she's on Indiana's team. I'm so sorry I don't remember the name of the
Fever.
Team. The Fever. Do you think and don't get me wrong, WNBA has been great. They've had a good amount of people that like and follow it. But do you think that Caitlin Clark is going to be the push that the WNBA needs to get just really, really, really big?
I think that's pretty blatantly obvious, honestly. Yeah.
Well, here's why I asked the question.
Yeah.
Why I don't think it's as simple as that is because yes, when she was playing for Iowa and playing college ball, huge and still is obviously right. Mm-hmm. However, that being said, it's like even before Caitlin, the NCAA tournaments were always really, really and still are really, really, really popular. And I just feel like, okay, when she goes to the WNBA, is she going to be forgotten? And certainly
that's
within,
a fair question.
Within specific groups, people that already watch the WNBA or people that are avid fans of her, not necessarily, but to like people like me who quite honestly only knew of her because of all the hype and like her being within, like leading the Iowa Hawkeyes and, breaking all these records.
Hitting half court
I don't
shots.
particularly know if I'm going to go out of my way to watch her play.
That's fair.
And it's not because I don't think she's a good player. I don't, that's why I'm curious what you guys think about if it's a big enough draw.
Can I answer?
Personally, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to take that over because I just thought of something. I think that's a really good question. And I think yes and no is the answer for me because I do think it will help the popularity of the league. And I think especially so if Caitlin plays like as dominant as she did in college, which is, could happen, might not, because now you're playing with pros, right? You're playing with vets who've been playing in this league for a long time. So if she's still putting up like 30-point games, but I do think it's going to take a minute. So yes, I do think she will increase the popularity, but I don't think it'll happen until she starts, doing the crazy stuff she was doing before.
First game will definitely be a highly viewed game, I think.
Yeah.
Well, is that the where she's playing?
Which is the first game of the season. People want to see her.
Yeah. And then there's there's some storylines brewing in the WNBA, which is cool. Like it's fun that it's even being talked about because it's always been kind of swept over under the rug.
I
think.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I also think
I hope it brings it.
Yeah, with the accessibility of like social media and stuff, and just people being exposed to the WNBA more, I think people are realizing it's actually really fun, and it's hoops when NBA's not on. Like it's something to watch.
Yeah. You can never have too many exciting sports going on.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Fact.
It'll be good. I hope they bring the traction that they need. I'm super on board with it becoming popular. I think it's great. They're incredible athletes. And I'm just curious. I'm curious to see how it goes. I did see somewhere that, most teams have like their regional broadcasting networks, right? Or like, like the links or, like here and there. But I'm really curious to see how much traction the Fever get because I saw somewhere that like 51 games are going to, or sorry, not 51 games because they play way less games. Basically like 70% of their games are going to be nationally broadcasted because Caitlin's going to be on the team and that's an opportunity for him to gain followers and,
that's true.
More passionate fans. So
it's like,
that'll be really interesting to see.
Yeah, it's like what happened with Victor Wembanyama. Like the Spurs had one nationally televised game last season and then this year they had like 30. And that's the same thing.
That's insane.
The Fever had like one last year, and they're gonna have like 20 or 30 this season.
Well,
so
makes sense, right?
I mean, one player can change your
question.
franchise. Yeah. Next question.
That's crazy.
All right, next question for you guys. All right.
Wait, Clay.
You could get one
Sorry, did you get to answer?
Well,
he kind of did. Right?
I touched on it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I feel bad. I hijacked that from you.
Well, yeah, I said
absolutely.
I said that's a pretty blatantly obvious. Yeah, that's going to be quite a push.
I mean, it will.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, it will increase the viewership and following of the game. I just was wondering if it would push it far enough forward to become mainstream, right? Like, I don't think it anytime soon it's going to become as right. You have to define mainstream.
We can go on deep rabbit
on the semantics of it, but no, I just was kind of curious on your thoughts about everything.
Good question.
Like that because
good question.
Arguably, the biggest female basketball player to come to the WNBA with. Just in terms of like
the most hyped of all time.
Yeah, for sure. So okay, the other question for you guys, and then I'll end on the goofy one if we have the time. But if you could get one player on one of our Minnesota professional sports teams, within reason of cap, so it can't be like, oh, I want
LeBron James.
On the yeah, I want LeBron. So within reason of cap, but here's the caveat. Like, the team will willingly trade them for, like, for a trade, right? So it's got to be a fair trade. But, like, you know how, like, all-stars or superstars, they're untouchable. Teams will never trade them. So though they're open to be dealt, but it's got to be a somewhat fair trade.
So we got to give up JJ.
And somewhat within reasonable aspect of cap. What team and what player do you want? Then you guys could take a.
I'm racking my brain. Do you have anything?
That's a good question,
Clay?
man.
Yeah, it is a good question. I'm trying to think NBA.
So it can't be McDavid, right? That's one of the greatest of all time already. So I mean, that's gonna be.
Wow. This is a tough question because you got to through your mind file all 4 sports, think which sport you want to go down the route with, and then from there pick the player.
I have an answer.
This
will give Clay a little more time to rack his brain. I would go with, because the Timberwolves, we have an aging Mike Conley. I obviously wouldn't want to get rid of him, but point guard is a need. I would say this man is not an untouchable, though he is their franchise player. I want Trae Young from the Atlanta Hawks on the Timberwolves.
Seriously?
Dude is
that makes sense.
A bucket, and he's a great passer. He's like... If you want a point guard who's going to move the ball, like, he's your guy. Yeah. But he can also fucking hit half-court threes. He can dribble drive into the lane and hit a floater like nothing. Like, I think that would be so much fun to watch. Him and Ant in the backcourt, bro.
Dude, okay.
I love Trae Young.
I think I'm going to surprise you a little bit.
Let's go.
So, I mean, with obvious need, where we are with the Vikings right now, the guy I would love to have on my team right now would be CJ Stroud. If we could get CJ Stroud, dude, that kid's going to be great.
Yeah. He's
already great.
Yeah.
He's going to be...
I like that answer.
If I remember, he was a top 2 draft pick.
Interesting. Yeah,
weird.
He was number 2.
He got that coin flip that landed the right way for him.
That coin flip. Yeah. We'll see.
That's a good choice.
Bryce Young's interesting. I guess we'll see what happens with him. I hope he succeeds, but so far it's not happening.
It's going to be hard on that team. Yeah, it's going to be hard on that team.
But CJ Stroud, dude, I love that kid. Give me CJ Stroud any day of the week, 100%.
Hell yeah. Do you have an answer, Cole?
I like it. Yeah, sure. I can think of one. We're all touching on different sports. All right, so you did basketball, Cheese. You did football, Clay. This one's a little outside of the scope of the question. Who's the guy on the Dodgers that the
Shohei Ohtani?
How cool would it be to have that guy?
You just said you can't do Connor McDavid.
I know. So that one doesn't count. But I didn't say that you couldn't pick a star player, but you have to do it within cap reasons. So here's my answer. I'm gonna go for the Wild because I'm a big fan of the Wild. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna pick a number 1 center. We desperately need a number 1 center. So I have 2 choices. I'm gonna cheat here. One, again, reasonable is in quotations because most of these teams would never think about trading these players. They're amazing. They don't want to lose them. But I think Mika Zibanejad on the New York Rangers as our number 1 center would be a ton of fun. He is... Jesus, giving that... I don't know. Here's my validation for it.
That's a fake word, actually. I don't believe that's a real person.
He's incredibly talented center.
Just making up names.
He's a top-line center. He has... extensive, well, not necessarily extensive, but playing experience with Matt Zuccarello.
Oh.
And so putting him on the top line between Matt Zuccarello and Kaprizov, you got a number 1 center, a playmaker. Those 3 would be insane. It would be so much fun. It would reunite 2 past players. The other one, certainly more out of reach, would be Nathan McKinnon from the Avs. Now, hear me out. No. You're kind of doing the... I get that these are star guys, but here's my reasoning for it. The whole question was based off a team willing to trade them.
Yeah.
Not this next year, but the following year. We have $14 million in cap space. Ideally, we're going to sign 2 or 3 players with that, but in a world where we can sign a star player, you can pick up McKinnon, you can pick up Zibanejad, and McKinnon would be really fun because he's obviously, one of the most talented players in the league. But
Top 2.
he also really likes Kaprizov. Him and Kaprizov are good friends, apparently.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, he in the All-Star game, he picked up Kaprizov as his second pick.
No
Oh
way.
yeah,
They
I
were both
remember seeing
smiling
that.
and
I didn't watch
laughing.
that.
They're apparently they have a good relationship. They like each other. So those are my answers. Again, outlandish, but that was the fun of the question.
Truly.
They were all
Truly
outlandish.
so.
Yeah, no, they were all
Yeah, they were,
outlandish.
so.
Like we,
Thank you for the great
there's,
question.
we'll never get Trey Young or CJ Stroud, but
No.
yeah,
Okay,
I love
well,
that.
My last question.
Yeah,
is
and
a
let's do
goofy
this.
question.
Let's do it quick.
How goofy is this about to be?
we can't-
bro?
It's going to be
Ramble.
incredibly wacky.
Okay, let's go.
All right.
Zany?
Of all of the professional athletes within all 4 major sports, who do you think would be the best crab fisherman?
I thought you were gonna say Kisser.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Well, I'm not-
I had my answer ready.
That's incredibly
Like-
easy.
You're right. You're right. Crab
Yeah,
fisher's
we're
way
gonna go
more
there,
niche.
100%.
That's
No, I was
very
talking about the
true.
kissing thing.
Crab fisher.
Crab fisherman. I feel like it'd be Jason Kelsey. I don't know why.
That's a good answer, actually.
I don't know why. I just
He's
feel like Jason
but he's
Kelsey would be
not. He
fantastic.
doesn't play sports anymore. Sorry, bud.
When I was thinking of this question, I didn't even have someone specifically in mind, but my mind painted a picture of a guy with a rugged Vikings beard that would look great in a
that's
pair
right,
of
yeah.
fisherman overalls. That's what I think of like Travis or
Bro,
or
this is a very goofy question. I have to hand it to you. Scale of 1 to 10.
very goofy.
All right.
At least an 8.
It's so goofy, and I have the perfect answer for it.
All right. Oh, dude,
Nikola Jokic,
Yeah, that's pretty good.
the
I like
Joker.
that. That's pretty good.
He would ride his horse down to the
100%.
river and go
Yeah.
fish for some crabs.
Yes.
Yep.
So good.
Instead of being
100%. I don't know. I just feel like Jason Kelsey would be good at that.
No, I could see him walking into a log cabin, just like armful of crabs. Like, hey babe, we're cooking this tonight. Throws it out, not wearing a shirt, obviously.
Yeah.
What about Brent Burns? Brent Burns would have been a good
No,
crab
dude,
fisherman.
Thornton.
Oh yeah. Thornton would be good.
Yeah, Thornton would be great.
There are a lot of good guys for that, but
Yeah,
anyways,
I
that's
know
the
who
last
those
question,
guys
then.
are.
I'll give you guys for now.
Hell yeah.
All right, so Cole's goofy correspondent.
Goofy corner.
There are better questions on that list. I just, for the sake of time,
Save them for next week. Yeah, or
Yeah, we will.
next episode, whenever the hell we do this again. All right, boys.
Yeah,
shall I
tomorrow.
wrap this up? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever took us 3 months to make this happen. All right. Should I take us out real quick?
Absolutely.
All right. So that's the episode. Yeah, we got a little music in the background. Thank you guys for listening. Follow us on the socials at Cheddarpot on Twitter, at Cheddarpot on Instagram, and I actually haven't made the YouTube channel yet, but I'm hoping it's at
we gotta do
Cheddarpot.
that.
Yeah, we'll see. I
far,
doubt
we're-
anyone's got
yeah.
Cheddarpot taken, so look for
them
search
the
on
handle
YouTube
for our
at Cheddarpot,
OnlyFans.
and then
We're at 100% on getting the actual
OnlyFans handle is Cheddarpot PP time. Yeah.
Goo.
Google it. Why don't you Google it? All right. On that note, we're gonna say goodbye. Say goodbye, guys.
Before Clay loses it. Thanks for watching.
All right. Look it up on Google.